Hello Sunshiners, hope everybody's okay. Have you ever fancied yourself as a bit of a detective? And I was going to say Perry Mason, but I don't know if people who are of a younger age would know who Perry Mason was. He was a detective that was on telly, I think in the 80s maybe. But yeah, and I used to watch him quite a lot, and he was really good. He was a fantastic detective, same as Columbo. I used to love Columbo as well, and that's probably going back to the 70s maybe, where he would go out in his scruffy overcoat and do all this detective work, and you thought, how was he ever going to put anything together? And then he does right at the end. So, but the reason why I ask you this question, and it's probably more to be, you know, have you really fancied yourself as the lawyer part of it, or, you know, being a detective to try and figure out how you can put your thoughts on trial. So the next time you have a mean thought rambling around in your mind, don't just give into it. Stand up and fight, or rather put it to the test with some razor sharp logic. This neat little trick involves putting a thought on trial and investigating whether it's true, untrue, or somewhere in between. Because, you know, thoughts are just what it says they are. They're just a thought, and you can, you know, tell them to go away. You're not useful. If you are useful, you can store it into your memory. You know, you can write it down on a piece of paper, you can do whatever you want to do, but you don't have to put up with all the horrible, mean, nasty, negative ones that tend to circulate and stay longer than you want them to. So, this is what you need to do. Number one is name that thought. Pin down the idea that seems unhelpful and negative. Frame it in words. For example, I'm so lazy. That is quite a good one, and I'm not good enough. Nothing good ever happens for me. Thoughts tend to be, recurring thoughts tend to be quite a negative thoughts. So whatever it is that you want to put on trial, you need to write it down, but put it into words that make it sound more simple. So, you know, don't have the thought being a really long-winded thing. It just needs to be a few words. Number two, what's the proof? Imagine you are putting the thought on trial. What's the evidence to show this thought is accurate? So going back to the I am lazy, what makes that thought the truth? What makes you think that you're a lazy person? Is it because someone's told you that you're lazy? Is it because you think that you're just a lazy person because I sit and watch telly all day? Is it because you were told at school that you were lazy and you were never going to go anywhere? Is it something that you've told yourself because you want to label yourself with that label, because it makes you feel better inside and it gives you an excuse to be a lazy person? Whatever it may be, what evidence have you got? Then, number three, the evidence against it. So come up with evidence to contradict this thought, anything you can think of that might show it's not accurate. So going back to the I am lazy one, has there been times in your life where you've decorated a room, you've gone out and gone for a really long walk, you've done spring cleaning, you've gone out and cleaned your car, you've gone out and cleaned the garden, you've gone and worked and then done overtime? All these things will prove that what you're saying, I am lazy, is just a load of old rubbish, and it is not true. So you need to do that bit. Then number four, what's the verdict? Now this is your deliberation, so you got your little court people who will be your jury, and they'll go out and they'll do the deliberation. So what's your final judgment? Is this thought based on evidence? So the thought of I am lazy, is the evidence for you being a lazy person or being lazy stronger, or is the evidence stronger that you're not a lazy person because you've come up with a list of reasons why you're not lazy and why you are lazy? Which list is bigger? If you find that your lists are both very similar, then look at the reasons why you've put that you are a lazy person. Look at them again and just make sure that you're not just feeding off somebody else's label that they've stuck on you. Because a lot of the time people will do that. They will have a label plonked on them and they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, this is me because everybody says it's me. And that's just not the truth. So really have a look at the verdict. And then number 5, it says find a better one. See if you can come up with a more balanced and helpful statement. For example, I'm getting less done than I want to. How can I organise my time better? So it's just really flipping the words and reframing them into something totally different. So you've still got the I am lazy, but you're going to change that and flip it into something that's positive. And in doing that, it'll make you feel more positive in yourself. Because yeah, sometimes, like some days, I'll say to my husband or my daughter, because you'll hear me talk about my husband and my daughter Danielle, my husband Jess and my daughter Danielle a lot, because they are the 2 people in my life that influence me the most. I've also got my sister-in-law, Lillian, and she's a massive support as well. But my husband and my daughter really do give me all the support that I need, and they're always there to pick me up if I'm ever feeling that little bit down, or I'm a little bit like, this is not, it's not working, or I'm feeling anxious about something. They're always there for me. So you'll hear me talk about them a lot. And they sort of say, you don't have to be thinking these things. Like, for example, I can do a day where I'm filming all day. It could be for a course that I'm trying to write and film. It could be stuff like this that I'm trying to do for my social channels. And then sometimes I think, I might have only done 1 or 2 things for it. And then I look at it and I'll say to my husband and my daughter, oh, I've only managed to do 2 today. That's ridiculous. I've spent all day and I've done 2 things. I've filmed 1 thing for my YouTube channel and I've filmed some of my course that I'm doing for people. And then they'll say, well, how long did it take you to do that? And to be honest, sometimes even, like a 10-15 minute video can take me, 2 hours to do, purely because if I get myself in a muddle with my words, or I get distracted, or somebody comes in the room, or the dog starts barking, it could be anything, but it could take me 2 hours. And the same with when I'm filming stuff for my courses that I run, I could do, half an hour of a course, which could have took me 3 or 4 hours, especially when you've then got to edit it and put other bits in and do stuff like that. So then I think, you've just been really lazy today. You could have done so much more with your time. But it's not me being lazy. I've been productive and I've done those 2 things, which are 2 things that are then off my list. This is what I'm trying to get across. So a hint for you. When you're feeling down on yourself, it can be harder to come up with evidence against a negative thought than evidence for it. If this is happening, ask someone who you care about to help you. And that's where my husband and my daughter come in. If I'm ever giving myself negative thoughts and I'm saying, I can't do this anymore, it's too hard, or whatever it may be, I go to them. And I'll tell them what I'm thinking, and then they'll be either, well, why do you think that? What is it that you're thinking about? and we write it all down on a piece of paper and we'll discuss it. We usually discuss it at family meals, not so much now because our daughter moved in with a boyfriend. So, but I do tend to phone her a lot, and we have a phone. I'll put her on FaceTime, and the three of us will sit there and we'll discuss things, and it really does help to get their clarification, because you will always see yourself worse than what you actually are, and it's not true. You know, you're not that person, and you don't have to be in that situation. So, a tip for you: the philosopher Socrates taught his pupils to stress test all ideas. 2,400 years later, his methods select an idea. When you see it, it stands up to an argument. Tip for you: the philosopher Socrates taught his pupils to stress test all ideas. 2,400 years later, his methods... No. Got a tip for you. The philosopher Socrates taught his pupils to stress test all ideas. 2,400 years later, his method, which is select an idea, then see if it stands up to an argument. This method is still a valid way to question our assumptions. And that still works today. If you go into anything with psychology, that still stands today. So if you get up tomorrow morning and you say to yourself, oh, just feeling like a big fat slab today, then question that. Or if you get up and you think, I'm just not good enough, I just can't do this anymore, then please do this exercise and let me know how you get on. If you do need any help, I'm always here for you. Any questions you can send me, it's not a problem, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Please remember, I do offer therapy and counselling, and so if you do need any extra help, then we can jump on a call and I can speak to you about it and see how I can help you further. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you again soon. Bye.